Hey y'all, my name is Taylor. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. So, I don't know if anybody noticed, probably not, but I didn't post anything last week, and that's because I was on vacation. I had originally thought I was going to film something and post it that week, but I just ended up not doing it. I did, however, film a vacation vlog, so that's in the works. I need to gather up all the clips and put them together and edit and make all the things pretty. So hopefully that'll get to you maybe early next week, hopefully. It's going to be a pretty big one because I have a lot of different clips in it, so stay tuned for that. But I was going to say that I missed y'all. I feel like I haven't talked to y'all in forever. I did vlog, like I said, but it's not the same thing as y'all talking back through comments. So I'm looking forward to seeing what y'all say in this video and the vlog to come. But so anyways, this video is about the books that I read in May. I'm going to wrap up what I read for the Southern Charm Readathon and all the yearly book challenges that I am trying to participate in. So, I feel like I've been slowing down a lot in my reading the last few months. I only read 4 books, and 3 of them I've already kind of talked about a little bit on my channel through vlogs. So I feel kind of like this might be a little bit repeated something. I'm repeating myself. But here we go. So the first one I read in May was Anne of Avonlea by Ellen Montgomery. This is the second book after Anne of Green Gables, and I just kind of slid right on into the second one after I finished Anne the month before, and I love Anne. She is such a unique and charming character in the way Ellen Montgomery writes her story and her antics and her adventures. It's not typically my wheelhouse. Like, I don't typically like more character-driven stories. I like a little bit more action, a little bit more plot. But good characters too, don't get me wrong. But that type of story is not typically my wheelhouse. However, the way Ellen Montgomery writes it is just so charming and so cozy and almost whimsical feeling, very cottagecore, I guess you could say. But I loved it. So I rated Anne of Avonlea 4 stars. I really enjoyed it, especially Anne got herself into a lot of scrapes where it just made me chuckle out loud. The only thing I didn't really like about it was related to Davy, which is one of the twins, one of the twins. Yeah, that makes sense. A twin has 2 kids. One of them was named Davy. And so as part of the plot, Marilla adopts 2 twins that are, I think they're 6 whenever they first come to Green Gables. And so Anne is like 16, 17, and she is a teacher at this point, and she helps raise these children. So Davy is a very rambunctious child, very a troublemaker, the epitome of a troublemaker, which is fine, that's fine. But I thought some of his antics, one in particular, went a little bit too far, and I just found myself like disagreeing or kind of questioning how Marilla and Anne handled some things. You know, it's a book, so whatever, but I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. And then there was one discussion of how, well, not, they mentioned it a couple of times. Anne and Marilla liked Davy more because he acted up and he needed them more versus the other child who was like the model child who never got in trouble. And I didn't like that. I don't know. It just didn't feel right to me. It didn't feel right to me that they said that multiple times too. So, but overall, it was a really sweet story. There's a romance near the end, which I wasn't expecting, and that one was really cute. So I definitely will continue on with the Anne series. The second book I read was For a Lifetime by Gabriel Meyer, and this was my favorite book of May. It's a top contender for my favorite book of the year. Am I surprised by this? No. So I read this as part of a big buddy read. So I read this with Lindsay Lou Lemus from Instagram, Laura from Cohen Cottage on Instagram, Chrissy from Chrissy's Purple Library, and Amanda from Book Lover Amanda. So all of us read this, and I actually stayed up until like 1 in the morning to finish it. And there were just so many reactions coming in on our chat, and they were blowing it up, and I was just like, I need to know. So I stayed up. Haven't done that in forever. You have to be a phenomenal book for me to do that nowadays, to sacrifice sleep in order to read it. So yeah, it was well worth it. Had such a good time. Yeah, what can I even say about this? This is the third in the series. If you haven't heard about it, here it is. You should read it. So this one follows two sisters. The premise is that this series follows a set of family members who have the ability, or were gifted by God the ability to live in two time periods simultaneously. So the main character lives in one timeline, goes to sleep, wakes up in the other timeline, and alternates days without any time passing between times. And then by their 21st or 25th birthday, depending on situations, they have to pick which timeline to stay in. So this one has a set of twins, and they are in the timelines of 1912 and 1692. So one of them follows like aviation, and the other one follows the Salem witch trials. And I will say that the Salem witch trials were a lot more engaging and interesting to me. I don't know as much about them, and just that whole time period is just really perplexing, and just kind of staring in horrified fascination of what in the world is going on, what happened to these people. So it was just really, really interesting to see the historical elements, particularly in that timeline. I am a huge historical girl, so that I can tell Gabriel spent a lot of time researching and really incorporating that into the story. And she had an author's note that kind of got into the detail. I love author's notes, so I'm always very grateful for those. So I really enjoyed her addition to this book, her author's note for that. And let's see, I'm looking at my notes. As usual, all three of the books so far, there's supposed to be 6, all three, you just kind of expect Gabriel to throw punches at you, like emotional whammies. You just expect it, and she definitely delivered again. And there were some twists and turns in this. Some of them I expected or kind of guessed, and some of them I was like, oh, what's going to happen? The faith in these books are top tier. Nobody writes like Gabriel Meyer. This is my all-time favorite series. It has the kind of magical realism of like the time component. It has historical. It has romance. It has phenomenal faith. Like, if I haven't said already, this book is 5 stars, and the Christian faith rating, I would say, is definitely a 3 out of 3. Like, phenomenal faith. There's prayer. There's the underlying message of God is in control. Trust Him. He has a plan. So yeah, I could gush on and on about this book. Yeah, definitely looking forward to book 4. The book I read after that, was Never Fall Again by Lynn H. Blackburn. And let me say, I knew whichever book I followed for a lifetime, I knew it would not be on the same bar. It would be very, very unlikely. So that being said, some of my thoughts may be kind of impacted because of that, but also it's probably one of my most disappointing reads of 2024. And that sounds harsh, but it's not that it's a bad book. It's just that I had unrealistic expectations. I thought I was going to get something different from what I actually got. So, what this book is about Landry. She is a single mom to a 5-year-old, and she moves across country from Arizona to the mountains of North Carolina. And she is running away from her past, and she is a pottery artist, and her studio catches fire. And I'm trying not to give anything away. I'm trying to remember what all I can tell you. But yeah, she ends up knowing that there's a note left. So there's basically a mystery surrounding who is doing this and why. Is Landry and her daughter, are they in danger? And then, of course, there's a guy that comes in and kind of helps her out and kind of takes care of her. So it's marketed as a romantic suspense. So I ended up rating this, I ended up settling on 3 stars. And by the way, I did read this with Samantha over at Faith in Books, and I will say that my enjoyment of the reading experience was probably greatly impacted positively by reading it with her. So I really enjoyed reading it with her, and we had thoughts, and they were very similar. So that, thank you, Samantha, for reading that with me. So anyways, so yeah, the reason why I was a little bit disappointed is that, to me, the suspense was barely there, and I was really wanting a suspense that was like, I'm on the edge of my seat, I need to know. And even the suspenseful parts of this book, I barely cared. That sounds terrible, but I just was not engaged. Like, I was like, okay. And then the suspense part climax just didn't last very long at all. So what this book is more about family, because there's some family feuds going on. There's 3 big families that are kind of involved in this story, and Landry's kind of just thrown in and kind of adopted by one of them. But the main guy, he's a part of one of the families. So that's why the families are involved in this. So there's a lot of, family banter, that type of stuff. So if you like that, this book is probably for you. If you're expecting more of a suspense novel or something to really grab you and put you in a chokehold, this book is not it. This is more of a domestic story, I guess you could say. But yeah, so I will say I was very impressed with a couple of things. The main character, I think his name is Cal, he asked to pray for Landry at one point, which I was very grateful for. Like, that was an excellent scene. I very much appreciated that the author put that in there, because I think that needs to be present in more Christian books, more prayer and more real life, how to walk through something difficult as a Christian topic. And then there was another part where Landry overheard something, and she was concerned about something to do with Cal, and so she straight up asks him about it, and they communicate, and that was so refreshing. Like, I feel like so many books just purposely drag out this whole drama-filled thing just to put that in there and, make it more, I don't know, but it's just so annoying, because just talk about it, just get out there, and that's what this book did. I really, really appreciated that they actually talked about it and were upfront and honest with each other and talked. So that was a really good relationship model, I guess you could say. So I really, really like that. So all in all, like I said, it's not a bad book. It's just not what I was wanting or expecting. So I rated it 3 stars. As for Christian faith rating, like I said, there's prayer and there's talk of church and that. So it is, I would rate it a 1 out of 3 Christian rating. There is a mention of trick-or-treating and Halloween, so if that's in there, if that bothers you, just letting you know it's in there. It's more like the kids are going around and getting candy, so that's what's in there. And then the last book is Magic Tree House. So if you've been following me for any amount of time, I have been collecting these in thrift stores, trying to gather up all of them, because I wanted to revisit them as an adult, and also potentially read these with my daughter whenever she gets old enough, which will be a little while. But so I've got plenty of time to gather up all of them. But I went ahead and picked up book 1, Dinosaurs Before Dark, and this series is by Mary Pope Osborne. And I read this in like 20 minutes. And it was very interesting going back and reading something from my childhood. It was very much a part of my childhood. It was probably my favorite series, one of the ones that got me into reading. And I had to look at their age, and it's supposed to be for 6 to 9 year olds, and that's definitely true, because I was like, oh, it seems so groundbreaking and like complex at that age. But this, I was like, oh, okay. So I kind of feel weird about rating this because I'm not the age geared toward it. However, I did have a few thoughts. So I just love the concept of the Magic Tree House and being this place that kids get to go to, and they get to go travel different times and places and learn something along the way and get sent back home safely. So yeah, I love the idea of it. There was something weird, a weird statement in this book talking about like, well, it's about Jack and Annie, if you didn't know. Two siblings that run across this treehouse, and in this book, obviously, they go back to when the dinosaurs walked the earth, and there is a dinosaur that is walking up to one of the kids. I think it's Annie, and Jack is like, you know, like, I read somewhere, like, act like you're eating grass. This is what you do whenever a dog comes at you, so try that, you know. And I was like, what? I don't know if that's good advice to put in a kid's book. Like, if a dog is coming at you, pretend to eat grass? I don't know. I don't know about that. But I mean, what else could a kid do? I don't know. I just felt like that should probably just have been left out. I don't know. That just felt like a weird statement to me. So I would say 3 stars. You know, it was a nostalgic adventure for me. For as far as the Christian faith rating, I'm gonna rate it at least a 0, maybe even a -1, because depending on your stance on evolution versus creationism, this definitely talks about like not 1 million, however millions of years ago or whatever, these dinosaurs lived. So depending on your viewpoints of that, you could go 0 or -1. It's not Christian, obviously. So I just kind of viewed it as more like nostalgia. That's what I just read. So, oh, I did want to mention my soft DNF, because I did mention this in a vlog that I was starting this. This is Collateral Damage by Lynette Eason, and I got 2 chapters in. I was trying to listen to it, and then I tried to physically read it, and my brain was just not engaging, and it's no fault of the book at all. My brain was just on vacation mode, and I wanted to read beachy type books. So I'm soft DNFing this for now. I will come back to this at some point, but it just wasn't a good read for me at that time. So as far as what all I accomplished or marked off for the Southern Charm Readathon, I marked Bless Your Heart, an emotional or heartwarming read. That would be for a lifetime for sure. Definitely an emotional book. Sweet Tea, a sweet story. I put Anne of Avonlea for that one. Hot as Blue Blazes, a hot setting. Now this one's debatable. I am gonna put Never Fall Again because it's set in the South and we can get pretty hot, even though it's mountain, so it's not as hot as compared to where I live. And I don't remember it being especially hot in the description, but I'm just gonna put it there because it's in the South and I'm just gonna count it. Heavens to Betsy, a mystery or thriller. Never Fall Again. All the Fixins, multiple genres, definitely for a lifetime. You got all that stuff going on. Chicken and Dumplings, a comfort read. I put Anne for that one. And Hey Y'all, more than one POV for a lifetime because there you have the 2 sisters' points of views. And last one is Howdy Partner, friendship or family, and I put Magic Tree House because you have Jack and Annie, your siblings. And then I will say for the annual reading challenges that I'm doing for Oshina's, I did the new release one, and I put Never Fall Again for that. Chantel, I'm doing the Doyle side because June for the Montgomery side you have to read poetry, and I said no. So I'm doing Doyle, and the month posts. The May prompt for that was a new to you author, and I failed. I didn't I didn't read. That was supposed to be Lynette Eason, but that didn't happen, so I'm gonna have to catch up at some point. Jane reads her, the light just went out yonder. Okay, so Jane reads her reading challenge for May. I'm trying to think. I'm in June. I'm thinking June, but I'm talking about May. Hers is a one-word title. Failed that one too. Gonna have to catch up at some point. And then Katie, her Read Around the World-a-thon was A Place You Have Lived, and I'm cheating a little bit on this one here. I'm stretching. I'm putting Never Fall Again because it's set in North Carolina, so I'm thinking, you know, North Carolina and South Carolina used to be Carolina, so I'm counting it because I live in South Carolina. Or if you want to even stretch it further, like I live in the South, that book is set in the South, so that's what I'm putting for that one. So that's all of the things that I want to mention in this video. Let me know if you read any of the books that I talked about, what you read in May, if you participated in the Southern Charm Readathon. Tell me all the things. Love to talk with y'all in the chats as usual. Talk to you soon. Bye, y'all.